Welcome our fans. We race the 5th round of the Nations Cup. My name is Jason Statham, and I will be your host for today. This round is held on the fictional Lago Maggiore track in Italy, specifically the west leg of the track. Because we're given a choice once again, let's take a look. With these 5 available GT3 cars, the Citroen is dominating the leaderboards. This car feels a bit heavy to drive. It also has terrible visibility in view due to a very low screen. The mirrors are a bit lacking as well. As such, Jordan, I'd rather doesn't want to drive this car if there is a good alternative available. The Volkswagen and Ford like pace around this track, so they are not valid options. At least the cars that were very close in price. They were also comparable to the Citroen. The Alfa tended to be a bit more consistent and handles really well, so that is the car of choice for this race. The qualifying lasts for the default 5 minutes, and the race itself is a decent 20 laps. In the race, the racing soft and medium tires must be used. As such, you must also make one and stop to switch compounds. Lastly, the unannounced best practice lap was at 1 minute 21.814, so any look 1 minute 20 lap is considered a pretty good pace for qualifying. Alright, that's it for the numbers for now. Let's take a look at some actual racing. As we are used by now, we'll first take a look at how the qualifying went. That is a pretty decent result for a pretty good time and a spot on the front part of the grid. His plan is to start on the softer compound and in the top 3, so he can hopefully benefit from some extra pace without having traffic in front. Let's take a look how the tactic works out in the actual race. We have a proper grid start this race. Beautiful overtake here. Waited patiently and then profited from the mistake in front. He's now taking a defensive line in the middle of track to prevent the overtake in the upcoming corner. This slow corner Stevie is a lot slower and actually blocking down another beat. But on the straights, the faster Sid run pulls away again. He can benefit from the slipstream. It seems that both of them are now pulling the gap to the cars behind. This is really slowing down enough down there. So if he keeps dropping pace, he must now find a good place for an overtake. We can see the polished sand could get real close as whenever the pace is dropping a bit. This is it. Here is the opportunity for the overtake. A little bit messy, but he is through nonetheless. some contact from the gaggle of cars behind there as well. You can open a gap or a squabble behind that would be lovely. That contact enabled him to pull a bit of a gap. We'll see if he is able to extend it a bit for you. Gordon's tires feel like they are dropping off quite a bit now. More so than in the practice races he did, it's becoming harder to stay consistent. The novel's too much Gran, it's probably best to make a stop this round. The mediums it should be able to get the same times he is doing now. Oh no, at this point I see that till the drivers following were on the medium combat. They already had very good pace on the mediums. All out, the tire advantage as well. Here we know just one of the first drivers behind collecting a turn penalty. Let's see if we can find out what happened there. Yeah, that's crossing the pit line on entry. Been there. To that. Went to the race at hand. A few very first drivers behind and a tire disadvantage. This does not go wrong. mediums are not warming up really well, and Stevie is already very close by him. This is only a matter of time.
Well, there you had it.
Mr. Hogg is also lurking behind, closing the gap pretty fast. Defending the inside line won't for now. Let us see if this place can be defended.
Hog Rider!
Well, those two places lost already, and not much hope of winning them back if they don't make mistakes. Hopefully that podium is still in reach though. It seemed there were any others that started on the mediums nearby. It doesn't seem they are pulling away really fast, but there is not much hope of catching back up either. The others in front have did it now, so this should be the actual position everybody is in currently. We're falling a bit in a gap now. Let's skip forward a bit to some action.
Do it. All right, come on. Okay. 1, 2, clear.
We jump forward to the start of lap 90. The South African behind is beginning to get dangerously close. Let's see how this unfolds. South African Voortspijn is actually one of the fastest drivers on track. He's doing lap times on the mediums that drivers on the soaks are barely managing. Keep in mind, he's also the driver that had the 3-second penalty. But by now, he has closed the gap back up. It was really unfortunate. Close enough saw the South African making a mistake but was too focused on his mirror. They made him overshoot the corner. Let's take a quick look at the replay. Completely unnecessary mistake, of course. But these things are also part of racing. It's pretty hard to keep concentration levels on maximum for an entire. And then we have it. Lost the podium in the last lap and ended up fourth. Even though it's a good result, one cannot help to wonder what could have been. If he was not held up by Stevie in the first stint, and didn't make that mistake in the last one. But that's all ifs and buts, of course. Positive takeaway was that the driving was very consistent on the whole. And some of the results so far this Nations Cup. But a podium once in a while would be nice, of course. Maybe the next one, who knows? But now, take care. And we'll see you in the next one.